Our vanity therapy sessions. The video cut to black. Joelle frowned. Los Angeles looked peaceful from above. Towers, windows of penthouse 47. A single wine glass lay broken on the white marble floor. Across the room, victims, she whispered. Celeste Veron and Rhett Alaric. The living room looked like a movie set. Expensive lighting rigs, ring lights, and camera stands were everywhere. On the main table sat a laptop with a gold sticker that said, Elite Relationship Studios. A camera was still recording, its red light blinking. Joelle pressed play. The screen showed Celeste Veron, smiling at the camera. Her makeup perfect, her voice soft. Welcome back, loves. Alaric, tall, calm, wearing a white shirt. He looked at her, not the lens. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Celeste continued. Real love means showing the raw self. That's why we started our vanity therapy sessions. The video cut to black. Joelle frowned. It edged closer. No, it doesn't. Look at the corner. He pointed to a faint reflection in the glass wall behind them. For less than a second, a third person appeared, someone holding a second camera. Joelle froze. There was another videographer here. They exchanged a look. Marlow took out a small drive from the laptop side. Let's see what else our stars were filming. He opened a folder named Private Tapes Do Not Upload. Inside were dozens of videos labeled Session 1, Session 2, Confession 3, and so on. Every file had a date, each newer by a few days. The last one was marked Session 13, Final Truth. Joelle clicked it. The sound filled the silent penthouse. Celeste's voice was trembling now, not polished. Rhett, stop filming! I said stop! A crash, heavy breathing. Then Rhett's voice, low and cold. You wanted the truth, Celeste. The world loves liars like you. Another crash. Glass breaking. A scream, then silence. The detective stood frozen. The file ended abruptly at 2 minutes 31 seconds. Joelle whispered. That's the same time the neighbors reported loud noises. Marlow exhaled slowly. So the murder or whatever happened was recorded. He looked around the room again. Where's the second camera? They searched through the penthouse. In the bedroom, they found more lights and a giant mirror cracked in two. On the dressing table sat a silver necklace tangled with hair. Joelle bagged it carefully. Then Marlow opened a closet and stopped. Inside were 3 mannequins wearing evening gowns, each with a silicone mask molded to look like Celeste's own face. Perfect replicas. Joelle whispered, What the hell? Marlow touched one mask. Vanity. She built an empire on her face. He turned and noticed a note pinned behind the door, a small card with gold edges. Session 14. Upload only if I disappear. Joelle's eyes widened. So she knew something was coming. Marlow said quietly. Someone wanted her to disappear for real. They collected every tape, sealed the room, and headed toward the elevator. Reporters were already outside the building. News had spread that LA's golden couple was missing. As the elevator doors closed, Joelle asked, Do you think they're both dead? Marlow shook his head. No, one of them is still playing the audience. He didn't notice the hidden camera above the elevator light, a small red dot glowing quietly. Somewhere far away, in a dark studio, another screen flickered to life. A shadowy figure watched Marlow and Joelle leave the building. The person pressed record again. Session 14 begins, a distorted voice whispered. Let's see how far they'll go to find me. The monitor showed a reflection of a woman's hand wearing Celeste Veron's signature ring. The next morning, Detective Marlow Kane walked into the LAPD media lab with a cup of black coffee. His eyes were red from no sleep. The digital team had been scanning the files all night, trying to recover what was deleted from Session 13. At the far desk, Dr. Rowan Pierce, the forensic psychologist, turned from her screen. You need to see this. On the monitor, The paused frame showed Celeste Veron, her face half hidden in shadow. The camera angle was strange, slightly lower, as if someone else was filming from the floor. Dr. Pierce clicked play. Celeste whispered, "He thinks I'm the liar, but he doesn't know what I recorded." Then she looked straight into the lens, her voice trembling. "If I vanish, find the mirror room. That's where the truth is." The video glitched, then ended again. Marlow frowned. "That's not from the main camera." Pierce nodded. "Exactly. It's from a second lens. Maybe hidden." Detective Joelle Hart entered with a box. "Found something." This was in the trash near the elevator at Sky Vista. She placed a small SD card on the table. Security team said it didn't belong to their system. Marlow slipped the card into the reader. A new folder opened, labeled Session 14, Upload Ready. For a moment, the screen stayed black. Then faint voices. "Rhett, stop hiding, Celeste. Celeste, you started this show, not me." Heavy breathing. Footsteps. Then a loud crash. The camera shook as someone fell. The man's silhouette appeared for a second tall, moving fast. The lens caught his reflection in a mirror, but only half his face, enough to see the blood on his cheek and fear in his eyes. Then came another voice, different, low, almost mechanical. "You both wanted fame. Now you'll have it forever." The screen went blank. Joelle leaned back. "That's three voices. Celeste, Rhett, and someone else." Dr. Pierce crossed her arms. "Maybe the same person disguised their voice." Marlow stared at the screen. "Or maybe someone filmed them both, someone who knew what they were hiding." He grabbed his coat. "Let's go. I want to see the mirror room." Sky Vista residences looked normal in daylight. The pool sparkled, and expensive cars lined the entrance. But on the 47th floor, crime scene tape still fluttered across the penthouse door. Inside, everything was quiet again. Marlow walked to the dressing room where the cracked mirrors stood. He tapped the frame. "Behind this?" Joelle nodded. "Maintenance," said the walls double-layered. They called in a technician. After a few minutes of unscrewing panels, a narrow space opened behind the mirror. Inside was a small studio, dark, full of cables, microphones, and another camera still recording. Its screen glowed faint blue. Joelle whispered, "It's still running?" Marlow pressed play. The video showed last night's date stamp. The footage was from after the detectives left the penthouse. Someone in black entered the room. Only hands were visible wearing gloves. The person placed a new note on the table, written in Celeste's handwriting. "Truth is beautiful only when it's too late." Then the person turned toward the camera, revealing a reflection for half a second, a woman's wrist with Celeste's diamond ring. Joelle stepped back. "She's alive." Marlow said nothing. He watched the screen again and saw one more thing. In the reflection behind the moving figure, another person was standing at the door, tall, wearing a white shirt. Rhett Alaric. They drove straight to Westline Studios, the office where Celeste and Rhett had built their online empire. The logo still glittered outside. Elite relationship. Building perfect love. Inside, dozens of employees were editing videos, unaware of the storm outside. Marlow showed his badge. "Where's Rhett Alaric?" The receptionist looked nervous. He came early morning, took 2 hard drives, and left in a hurry." "Where to?" "He said something about the retreat house." Joelle frowned. "What's that?" The woman pointed to a framed photo on the wall, Celeste, Rhett, and a few guests standing in a modern glass villa near the ocean. "Their private therapy retreat, Malibu Coast." Marlow turned to Joelle. "That's our next stop." As they left the building, Joelle noticed something strange on the lobby screen. The company's YouTube channel had gone live again, a new upload called Session 14, Vanity Truth Premiere. She gasped. "They're streaming it right now." Marlow grabbed his phone. "Call cybercrimes. Trace that feed." On the car radio, the voice of Celeste filled the air. Welcome back, everyone. This is session 14, my final confession. Tonight, I'll show you what love really looks like when the camera never turns off. Marlow hit the gas. If that's live, he said, someone's going to die on screen. The car raced down Sunset Boulevard, lights flashing, siren cutting through traffic. Back in the city's media hub, the video stream hit 1 million views in under 5 minutes. Somewhere in a dark studio, a figure in black smiled behind the camera. Smile, Los Angeles, the voice whispered. You're about to watch the truth kill its creator. The sound of the sea was the only thing that broke the silence. Waves crashed against the rocks below the glass villa, known as the Retreat House. From outside, it looked peaceful white walls, tall windows, and the endless Malibu horizon. Inside, everything was different. Celeste Veron sat on the floor of her studio room, her phone light dim. Her reflection, in the black mirror, looked like a stranger. Her face had no makeup now, her hair loose, her eyes red. She whispered to herself, "One more session, Celeste. Just one." On the desk near her feet were 3 memory cards. Each was marked with gold ink. Lies, control, revenge. She took the one labeled revenge and pushed it into a small hidden camera pointed at her face. "If you're watching this," she said softly, "then I'm already gone. You think you know me, but you only know the smile I sold." Her voice cracked. Rhett thought the brand was his. He forgot who built it. He forgot who made the followers believe. She looked away, breathing fast. Now, everyone will know what he did for fame. She turned off the camera. Her hands shook as she hid the card inside a vase near the window. The ocean wind blew through a small crack in the glass. For a moment, Celeste closed her eyes, listening. Somewhere downstairs, a door clicked open. Celeste froze. "Rhett," she whispered. No answer, just footsteps on marble. Slow, confident, too heavy to be the wind. She grabbed the camera tripod like a weapon and moved quietly toward the door. The footsteps came closer, then stopped. A man's voice, calm and deep, filled the silence. "You really think you can rewrite the ending, Celeste?" She didn't move. The voice laughed softly. "You forget who taught you how to act." She turned the handle slowly, heart racing. The door swung open, and the screen cut to black. 2 hours later, Detective Marlow Kane and Detective Joelle Hart reached the Malibu cliffs. Their car stopped in front of the sleek white villa. From the outside, nothing seemed wrong. Just another luxury house facing the sea. Marlow checked his watch. "Cyberteam says the live stream came from here." Joelle pointed at the gate camera. "But no movement in 2 hours. Either the signal's old, or they're both inside quiet." They entered carefully. The front door was unlocked. The smell of salt water mixed with perfume and something metallic blood. Inside, the house looked like a movie set again. Tripods, cameras, soft lights. But this time, the mirrors were covered with black fabric. Behind it was a giant LED screen showing. Marlow touched the screen. She was here. They followed the sound of dripping water to the back room. On the floor, a small pool of blood shimmered under blue light. Joelle whispered, "Please don't let it be her." Beside the blood was a phone, still recording. Marlow picked it up and pressed play. "Rhett, stop this, please." Celeste's voice echoed through the speakers. "You wanted the truth, remember?" Rhett's voice answered coldly. "Then let's finish the show." A thud. Then silence. The video ended with a flash of static and a reflection of the sea. Joelle stared at the screen. "He killed her?" Marlow didn't answer. He walked toward the window. Outside, the waves hit the rocks. On a stone ledge, something glittered. He climbed out, reached down, and picked it up, a gold bracelet engraved with the initials R.A. "Red Alaric," he said. Looks like someone wanted us to find this. Joelle frowned. You think she planted it? Or someone wants us to believe she did. Marlow looked around the studio again. Every camera light was off, except one small red dot blinking behind a vase. He lifted it gently and found the hidden memory card marked Revenge. Joelle exhaled. Celeste left us a message. Marlow slipped it into his pocket. Let's see what she wanted the world to know. That night, at the LAPD Media Lab, the detectives watched the footage. Celeste appeared on screen, exhausted but clear. This is my final truth. Vanity was never the crime. Believing in love was. She looked straight into the camera, eyes burning. Rhett, you said no one could hurt me. You were wrong. Behind her, a shadow moved slowly closer, but Celeste didn't turn. To everyone watching, she whispered, remember this. Every perfect couple hides something broken. The screen flickered, then froze on her face. Joelle's voice was soft. She knew she was going to die. Marlow stared at the paused image. Or she wanted us to think that. He leaned closer to the screen and noticed something faint in the background. A mirror reflection. A hand was holding a phone, recording her from the side. The bracelet on that hand wasn't gold. It was silver Celeste's. Marlow whispered, maybe the victim isn't the one we think. The LAPD Media Lab was silent, except for the hum of computers. The lights were dim. Detective Marlow Kane leaned forward, watching the footage Celeste Veron had hidden. The word Revenge glowed on the memory card's file. Play it again from the start, he said. On the screen, Celeste sat in front of the camera. Her face looked tired, but calm. The background was not the penthouse or the retreat. It looked like a different room, a smaller one, painted gray, with no windows. This is session 12, she said slowly. Not the one we uploaded. The real one. Her voice shook a little. Red said we should record private confessions from couples who came to us for help. He said pain sells better than love. But we went too far. She looked down at her hands. One of our clients died after our last session. We covered it up. We called it an accident. Joelle's eyes widened. So they weren't just influencers, they were experimenting with real people. Marlow nodded. And someone found out. Celeste continued, voice breaking. He told me we could delete the tapes. But he lied. He kept them all. Every scream. Every breakdown. The video flickered. A second figure appeared beside her, Red Alaric. He smiled at the camera like it was a performance. You don't destroy a show that people want, he said smoothly. The truth is good content. Celeste glared at him. You killed her. Rhett laughed softly. No, you did. You pushed her too far. The screen went black for 2 seconds, then returned to static. Joelle whispered, we need to find out who the dead client was. Marlow looked at Dr. Rowan Pierce. Can you trace names from their files? Dr. Pierce typed quickly. They used fake initials, but there's a pattern. All couples had one thing in common. They were all part of the same investor group, people who funded elite relationship studios. Marlow's eyes narrowed. So their clients were also their sponsors. Joelle frowned. And someone died during one of those sessions. That's motive for revenge. Later that evening, the detectives visited the investors' database. One name repeated. Nadia Laurent. Who is she? Joelle asked. Pierce read from the file. She was a model. She disappeared a month before Celeste, and Rhett vanished. Her death was ruled a suicide. Marlow leaned back in his chair. Or a cover-up. He turned the video forward. The next frame showed a hidden clip added at the end of Celeste's confession. It looked shaky, filmed secretly from a corner. Celeste was crying. Rhett was shouting, if you release this, I'll destroy you, he yelled. You already did, she answered. Then he grabbed the camera and threw it down. The footage ended with a loud crash. Joelle muttered, he didn't delete this one. She hid it. Marlow said quietly, she wanted us to find it. The next day, they drove to Nadia Laurent's last address, A small apartment in downtown Los Angeles. The building manager recognized Celeste's photo immediately. "Oh, yes. She came here after Nadia died," he said. "Brought flowers. Left them at the door. Looked scared." Joelle wrote it down. "Scared of what?" He shrugged. "Of herself. Maybe." Inside the apartment, dust covered everything. But on the kitchen counter was a small box sealed with tape. Marlow opened it. Inside were printed photographs behind-the-scenes shots from the therapy sessions. Celeste, Rhett, Nadia, and another man whose face was scratched out with a pen. Joelle looked closer. "Who's that?" On the back of one photo, someone had written in red ink, "The director always watches." Marlow frowned. Director? They filmed everything. Maybe there was someone else, someone above them both. He placed the photos in a bag. "Let's take these to the lab. Maybe we'll find fingerprints." Back at headquarters, Dr. Pierce ran a scan on the photos. She zoomed in on the man's necklace, a silver pendant shaped like a mask. She looked up. "You won't believe this. That pendant belongs to a producer named Colton Ree. He worked on early influencer documentaries. He vanished 3 years ago, after a scandal." Marlow's mind raced. If Colton was their secret director, he could be the third voice in session 14. Joelle said softly, "So maybe Celeste and Rhett were both victims. Maybe he turned their therapy idea into something darker." Pierce nodded. "He could be controlling the uploads now. The live stream, the edits, everything." Marlow stood. "Then we find Colton Ree before another video drops." He looked at the city skyline glowing through the window. Somewhere out there, another camera was probably still rolling, waiting for its next victim. And in the glow of his phone, a new notification appeared from an anonymous account. "Session 15 première tonight." The night air in Los Angeles felt heavy. The city lights looked calm, but every screen in the LAPD cyber room was flashing red. A new live stream had started. Title: Session 15. The Truth Performs Itself. Detective Marlow Kane leaned toward the monitor. "Trace the IP now," he ordered. Technicians typed fast. On one screen the chat was exploding with comments. Viewers thought it was another performance from Elite Relationship. No one realized it was real. Joelle Hart stood beside him, watching the feed. "That's the retreat house," she said. The camera showed the same glass room facing the ocean. Blue light, one empty chair, one camera still running. Then a figure walked into frame wearing a silver half-mask. Marlow muttered, "Colton Ree." The man in the mask spoke calmly. "You all watched their love. You bought their lies. Now you'll see what honesty costs." He held up a phone and tapped the screen. Another video began playing inside the live stream session 13 raw footage. Celeste screamed on screen. Rhett tried to calm her, but the argument turned violent. The sound was unedited this time, no music, no filters. "Celeste, you said no one would get hurt." "Rhett, you begged for it, Celeste. You said pain gets views." The chat went wild. Half the viewers typed fake. The others typed murder. Joelle whispered. "He's turning the case into a live show," the tech officer called out. "We have a partial trace signal bouncing through multiple servers. Final hop near Santa Monica Pier." Marlow grabbed his jacket. "Move." 20 minutes later, the detectives reached the pier. The wind whipped through crowds of tourists, neon lights flashing over the waves, screens. Marlow signaled to the team. They entered quietly. Inside, walls were covered with mirrors and cables. Every surface reflected the blue of computer screens. In the center stood the silver-masked man Colton Ree, still streaming. "Turn off the feed." Colton smiled behind the mask. "If I stop, they'll forget. But if I finish, they'll remember forever." Joelle noticed a second screen beside him, showing a woman tied to a chair. Camera lights on her face. Celeste Varone. Her eyes were open, terrified, but alive. Joelle gasped. She's alive. Marlow stepped closer. Colton, it's over. Let her go. Colton tilted his head. Over? You think this was about them? They sold perfection. I just sold the truth. He pointed to the streaming numbers, more than 5 million viewers. Joelle whispered, He's doing this for fame. Not fame, Colton said softly. Justice. She ruined lives. He ruined mine. He pressed a button. Another screen lit up, showing Rhett Alaric, tied in another room. Blood on his temple, breathing but weak. Celeste screamed, Don't hurt him! Marlow shouted. Colton! Stop this now. Colton looked at the camera. Truth needs an ending, he said, and lifted a small remote. Joelle rushed forward and tackled him. The remote hit the floor. A gunshot echoed. One of the lights burst. Sparks flew. The stream shook violently. Technicians in LAPD headquarters shouted, Signal dropping! We're losing feed! Marlow pinned Colton against the wall and tore off his mask. His face was pale, eyes wild. They used me, Colton spat. They filmed my therapy, my pain. They made me the fool, so I filmed theirs. Marlow cuffed him. You killed people. Colton smiled. No, they killed themselves the moment they pressed record. They found Celeste and Rhett in separate rooms. Both alive, both terrified. Paramedics rushed them out. Joelle stood near the ocean, breathing hard. Do you think it's finally over? Marlow looked at the night sky. Not yet. The internet never forgets. His phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number appeared. Session 16 uploads tomorrow. No one stops the truth. Joelle read it and whispered. He had a partner. Marlow closed his eyes for a moment. Then, the show isn't over. It's just changing directors. The waves crashed louder against the pier as sirens faded in the distance. Somewhere in the dark, another camera light blinked red. Morning came without rest. The whole department buzzed with reporters and flashing phones. Every news channel called it the influencer murder that went live. Detective Marlow Kane walked into the briefing room carrying 2 coffees. Joelle Hart sat by the monitor, eyes fixed on the replay of Session 15. Colton Ree is in custody, she said quietly. But the uploads didn't stop. The file for Session 16 appeared on our own internal drive at 3 a.m. Marlow stopped. Inside LAPD? Joelle nodded. Encrypted folder. Someone used a police login. Dr. Rowan Pierce entered, holding a printed transcript. I checked the metadata. Whoever uploaded it had full clearance. That means the leak came from here. The room went silent. Later, in the cyber lab, rows of screens glowed with streaming logs. A young analyst pointed to one feed. Sir, a ghost process is running on our servers, same signature as the previous live sessions. Joelle frowned. So, the new director is already broadcasting from inside? Marlow exhaled slowly. We need to know what they're showing. The analyst opened the stream. A familiar scene appeared. The interrogation room. Their interrogation room where Colton Ree was still being held. The camera angle was wrong. It wasn't from security. It was cinematic, centered, edited. Joelle whispered. Someone installed another camera. On screen, Colton looked up at the lens, smiling faintly. You arrested the wrong director, he said. The story continues whether I'm in chains or not. The video zoomed in as if someone remote-controlled it. Colton kept talking. I told you, they killed themselves with their fame. Now watch who uploads your truth. The feed cut to black. Marlow slammed the desk. Shut that connection down. The analyst tried, but new data lines appeared instantly, copies spreading to public platforms. It's auto-mirroring, he said. Whoever runs it planned this weeks ago. Joelle left the lab to clear her head. In the hallway, she noticed a janitor's cart parked by the server door. The worker's ID badge flashed briefly. Hartley man. She'd never seen him before. Hey, she called. The man looked up, too calm. Detective Hart, right? I'm a big fan of your cases. Something about the way he said it made her skin crawl. "Maintenance isn't allowed near that server without clearance," she said. He smiled. "Clearance is easy when you write the script." Before she could react, he pushed the cart toward her. A laptop was hidden under the cleaning cloth, streaming code. She drew her weapon. "Hands up!" Marlow rushed out from the lab as alarms went off. The man ran down the corridor. They chased him through the basement to the evidence room. He turned, holding a small remote, the same design Colton had used. "You think locking up one director stops the show?" he hissed. "We're all actors now." He pressed the button. The overhead lights flickered, and every security camera in the building turned toward them. Rows of screens came alive, showing live footage from inside the station. Officers watching, reporters waiting, the two detectives pointing guns. Joelle realized in horror they were being streamed again. Marlow shouted, "Who are you?" The man smiled. "I'm the editor, the one who cleans the scenes." He stepped back, knocked over the evidence shelf, and vanished through a side door into the parking tunnel. Back upstairs, chaos filled the station. Colton Ree was shouting inside his cell. "I told you he'd continue." Marlow grabbed him by the collar. "Who is he?" Colton's grin widened. "Hartley? Oh, he used to edit our first videos. Celeste fired him when he leaked the therapy tapes. Guess he finally got his audience back." Joelle's voice trembled. "He's using our own systems. That means he's been watching us for weeks." Dr. Pierce looked at the screen, reading new messages appearing in real time. Session 16. The police edit. Premieres in 1 hour, Joelle whispered. "He's turning us into the next episode." Marlow looked at his reflection in the dark monitor. For the first time, he saw the red camera light blinking above their heads, the same faint dot that had watched Celeste in her penthouse. "Get every tech team on this," he said. "If we're part of his story, we end it before he edits the final scene." Outside, sirens wailed across downtown. Screens in cafes, buses, and hotel lobbies all refreshed to the same preview image. Two detectives framed in blue light. Title: Session 16. The police edit. The city was about to watch its protectors become the next content. Rain hit the glass walls of the LAPD headquarters. The city outside was half asleep, but every screen inside glowed with the same message. Session 16. Live in 10 minutes. Detective Marlow Kane stood beside Joelle Hart, staring at the countdown. The servers were sealed off, yet the broadcast kept restarting itself. "Every time we shut it down, it reboots," said the tech officer. He built a self-uploading loop. Joelle rubbed her temples. "Hartley man isn't just a hacker. He's directing us in real time." Dr. Rowan Pierce entered with a tablet. "He's using the department's own security feed as his raw footage. Look, on the tablet screen." The live preview already showed them Marlow and Joelle standing in the command room, the red rec symbol blinking at the corner. Marlow said quietly, "We're inside his movie." The countdown hit 0. Across the world, the live stream began. Millions tuned in within minutes. The title flashed, The Police Edit. Episode 1 of Truth Unfiltered. The picture switched to black and white. A narrator's voice filled the speaker's Hartley's calm, theatrical tone. Detectives Kane and Hart believed they were the hunters. But what if the crime was theirs all along? Clips rolled across the screen, real police body cam footage, edited with slow music and captions twisting every action. Marlow's arrest of Colton looked violent. Joelle's chase through the basement looked cruel. Every frame was cut to make them monsters. Joelle's throat tightened. "He's destroying our names." Marlow's jaw clenched. "Not if we end the stream first." They ran to the server vault in the basement. Guards cleared the hall as alarms wailed. Inside, cables snaked across the floor toward a single open terminal. On the screen was Hartley's logo, a silver mask over a camera lens. A new message appeared. "Welcome to the final cut." Then Hartley's face popped up live. He sat somewhere dark, water dripping behind him. "Detectives," he said pleasantly. "I knew you'd find the source. The real upload isn't here. It's in your hands." Marlow frowned. "What does he mean?" Dr. Pierce gasped. "He cloned your badges!" "Each badge has a chip that connects to our internal cloud. That's his key." Joelle ripped her badge off and threw it. "Can we kill the signal?" "Only if we break both," Pierce said. Marlow tossed his badge on the floor and smashed it under his boot. Sparks flew, the screens flickered, but the stream kept running. "Too late," Hartley said through the feed. "The upload finished 3 minutes ago. The lights cut out. The emergency generator hummed." Upstairs, reporters gathered outside the building, broadcasting the chaos live. Social media exploded with hashtags. Number Police Edit. Number Truth Series. Number Elite Relationship Murder. Inside, Joelle opened her phone notifications nonstop. The stream now showed pre-recorded footage of Celeste Varon speaking again. Celeste sat in a hospital room, bruised but alive. "The detective saved me," she said softly. "But maybe saving isn't always innocent." Joelle stared. "That's not real." Pierce examined the frame. "Deepfake composite." Hartley edited her old footage. Marlow hit the radio. "Cyber unit, I want every server rerouted through offline backup now." "Already trying," the officer replied. "He's flooding us with fake pings like chasing ghosts." Then a new alert appeared on the wall monitor. "Location trace match, Santa Monica tunnels." Marlow grabbed his gun. That's where he ran. They drove through the storm to the coast. The tunnels under the pier smelled of salt and oil. Flickering monitors lit the walls, each looping scenes from the previous sessions. At the end of the corridor, Hartley sat before a desk of laptops, editing live. His fingers moved fast, cutting and uploading clips even as he looked at them. "Welcome to the raw feed," he said. "You wanted the truth. Here it is, every lie stitched together." Joelle stepped forward. "You turned people's pain into entertainment." Hartley smiled sadly. "So did they. So do you. Everyone records now, even you." He pressed a key. Every monitor showed live police cameras from around Los Angeles streets, offices, even the interview room where Celeste now sat under guard. "No secrets left," Hartley whispered. Marlow fired once, not at him, but at the power core. Sparks burst, screens died, and the tunnels went black. For the first time, there was silence. When the lights came back, Hartley was gone. Only his headset remained, blinking red. Pierce's voice echoed through Joelle's radio. The live stream stopped. All channels down. Marlow breathed out. "It's done." Joelle wasn't sure. She looked at the blinking headset, still recording. The tiny lens pointed straight at her. Hours later, back at headquarters, the media celebrated the end of the Truth series. Colton Ree was transferred to federal custody. Celeste Varon refused to speak to anyone. Marlow sat at his desk, exhausted. On his computer lay one new file, automatically synced from the recovered headset. File name: Session 17, The Final Truth. He didn't open it. Joelle walked in. "You think he's gone?" Marlow looked at the dark monitor. "Directors don't die. They just cut to the next scene." 3 days passed since the Santa Monica raid. The headlines finally began to fade. Elite relationship scandal ends in arrest. Truth series creator vanishes. But inside the LAPD tower, Detective Marlow, Kane, and Joelle Hart knew it wasn't over. The new file, Session 17, The Final Truth, still sat on Marlow's computer. Encrypted. Locked with their own badge IDs. Joelle entered with 2 coffees. "You haven't slept." "Can't," Marlow said. "Whatever's in that file, he wanted me to open it." "Doctor," Rowan Pierce came in carrying reports. "We checked every backup. The file didn't come from our network. It came from an external device connected only once your recovered headset." Joelle frowned. "Then Hartley recorded it before he vanished." Pierce nodded. "Or someone using his access did." The clock on the wall ticked loud. Rain fell outside again, same as the night of Session 15. Marlow finally clicked the file. The password screen dissolved. The video opened. It began with silence. Then Celeste Verone appeared. Her hair was shorter now, her eyes tired. She sat in a plain white room, the same hospital where she'd refused interviews. "If you're watching this," she said quietly, "I'm still alive, but not free." She looked straight at the lens. "They think I'm safe under police protection, but someone comes every night. They ask questions I already answered." She glanced off screen. A shadow moved behind her curtain. "You call him Hartley, but that's not his name. The real director has been here all along." Joelle leaned forward. "What does she mean?" Celeste continued. "When we started the sessions, it was never my idea. The man funding us said he wanted to study truth in relationships. His real name..." The screen glitched. Static cut her words. When it cleared, the video had changed. Now it showed footage from inside the LAPD offices, the same room they were sitting in. Joelle gasped. "That's live." Their own faces stared back from the screen. Then a voice, calm, deep, unmistakable, spoke through the speakers. "You wanted truth, detectives. Now look at yourselves." It wasn't Hartley's voice. It was Marlow's. Joelle turned slowly toward him. "That's your voice." Marlow froze. "I never recorded that," Pierce whispered. "It's AI. Someone cloned your speech." The screen split in two, one side showing real Marlow, the other showing a manipulated version speaking calmly into camera. "You never solved the crime," the fake Marlow said. "You just became part of it." Joelle grabbed the keyboard, trying to stop the feed. The video kept playing. The clone turned its head and smiled directly at them. "Session 17 is now recording." The room lights dimmed automatically. Every camera in the ceiling turned red. Marlow yanked the power cord. The screens went black. For a moment, there was only the sound of heavy breathing. Then Pierce's phone buzzed. She looked down and whispered, "It's still streaming from a mobile hotspot inside this building." Joelle's pulse raced. "Where?" They followed the signal through the corridors to the archive floor. A small door led to a forgotten editing room once used for internal media. The light inside was on. Marlow pushed the door open. On the desk sat a camera, recording live. In front of it was a single sheet of paper. For the audience. The detectives will soon discover the truth. Joelle scanned the walls. Dozens of drives hung like trophies, each labeled with names. Nadia Laurent, Celeste Verone, Rhett Alaric, Colton Ree, and the last one, Marlow and Hart. Pierce whispered, "He recorded everyone." Joelle shook her head. "No, this isn't Hartley's work anymore." A soft click echoed. The monitor blinked back on. Celeste's face appeared again, whispering something new. "He was never outside the system. He was the system." Then the picture shifted, revealing a hidden reflection behind Celeste. A man holding the camera, face unseen, but his LAPD badge glinting under hospital light. Badge number 117. Joelle's eyes widened. "That's your number, Marlow." He stepped back, stunned. "That's impossible." The video froze. The word rendering appeared on screen, followed by a final line of text. "Truth uploads itself." The hard drives on the wall began to spin, their lights flashing one by one as files auto-synced. The monitors filled with live footage of everything: detectives, cells, the city streets, the hospital room. Pierce shouted, "It's broadcasting again!" Marlow grabbed the nearest hard drive and pulled it out. Sparks flew, smoke rising. Joelle yanked cables, cutting power until the entire floor went dark. For several seconds there was only silence, then a faint sound like static laughter from one of the unplugged speakers. "Cut!" the voice said softly. "Perfect ending." The power died completely. The next morning, news anchors reported that all Truth Series channels had disappeared from the internet. Every file deleted, every backup corrupted. No one knew how. Celeste Varon was moved to a secret location. Rhett Alaric vanished again, and Detective Marlow Kane quietly resigned. He left his badge on his desk with a note. Truth doesn't need a camera to destroy you. It only needs to be believed. Joelle Hart never saw him again, but weeks later, her phone lit up at midnight with a new upload notification. Session 18. The Detective's Confession. No source. No trace. Just Marlow's voice saying, "The show must go on."